look on a Talker Tuesday. Plenty of talkers to get into on this particular Tuesday, by the way. Talkbacks and texts. Talker Tuesdays always brought to you by Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply, northernfirebbq.com. And talkers, text back. Let's restart this. Hang on a second. Text line, 64686, Brad, Sean, Bryant, KFAN text line, but also via the Talkback machine, free iHeartRadio app. The Talkbacks, hit that microphone, give us up to your best 30 seconds. And today, I mean, it's very potpourri style, Brett, because at this stage, as we've talked about, this is bated breath training camp for the Minnesota Vikings, many other NFL teams right around the corner. Even Brett's totally loathed and diseased division rival Packers. Aaron Rodgers kind of re-upping with his fam. Is that good news?
It is big news.
I think that's a good thing.
I mean, if you like good human interest stories, it's a good thing. But I think his brother and him are still maybe on the outs. But yeah, I mean, good for him.
What's his brother's name? It's like
Jordan. I think.
Jordan. Okay.
Yeah.
Was that a talker when he was with the Packers? Just kind of like, why is his family not hanging out? Why is that not a bigger part of the scene in Green Bay?
Not among our circles.
Okay.
But it was an easy arrow to sling towards his way of, his own family doesn't even like him. So
is that the exact voice they would use while saying that?
Yes, it is. Well,
good for him.
Good for him. Getting back with his mom and pops.
I for one am happy. Although, on a Talker Tuesday, will Aaron Rodgers come up much during the show today? I don't know, but it's up to you via the text line and via talkbacks throughout the morning. But there are a lot of different ways we can go here as we enter training camp, because we're still sitting here. And, I think about it in some ways like a summer checklist. As a fan of Minnesota sports, you have a checklist. Now, if we're talking about different ends of different spectrums, we'll get to the Minnesota Twins and maybe boxes that were not checked last night, given Joe Ryan's performance on the mound out in Cleveland. But the summer checklist. As Minnesota sports fans, you listen 9 to noon faithfully for weeks. As individuals like myself or Brett Blakemore, bumper to bumper, very much in on it. Barrero's got, is Barrero celebrating? Is he one of us with Spain?
Oh, he's La Roja through and through.
Well, congratulations to him. Yeah, congratulations to him on Spain, La Roja, and their World Cup victory. But you struggled through that because you're strong. And well, there wasn't a heck of a lot else going on, but you struggled through it for 6 weeks. And now that that's done, you got to get back to the summer checklist. For instance, in the midst of a summer that has felt like a mild simmer, where are you at in various aspects? Checking boxes on the summer checklist. You're glad that LaMelo Ball is here. That's awesome. As Wolves fans, you love that. So is that it for you? Into the season, no other significant move is made to maybe bolster that 4 spot. The self-proclaimed king chooses a different destination. Is that part of your summer checklist? That's something I need finality with. I need more as I'm howling on a day-to-day basis. I need more. I need finality. Again, Talker Tuesday. What's your summer checklist? Adding, or you're just pumped to see LaMelo and Ant in the backcourt. And for now, let's see how that pans out. You're patient. Or if you're Brett Blakemore wanted, you were a big Nazem Kadri guy at the deadline, weren't you?
Well, of course.
Yes, you were, and that didn't work out. Where did he go again? He went to Colorado.
He went back to Colorado.
Yeah. Okay, that didn't work out. But I remember from a Minnesota Wild summer checklist, there's a couple of things to jump into there, where you went from not you, excuse me, but a Wild fan would go through, it'd be really cool to get Vincent Trocheck at the deadline. Remember that?
I remember.
And then it didn't work out. That would be sweet, but it didn't work out to, well, you know what Billy G's doing. Billy G's just waiting for a bigger swing this summer. Well, thus far, it's kind of crickets in terms of big swings from Billy G. Is that on your summer checklist? As of now, Dylan Larkin's name has been the most prominent of those potentially linked to the Minnesota Wild. Is your summer incomplete until there's finality there? Text line, 64686. Talkbacks, Free iHeartRadio app. Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply gift card on the line today. Or is it just, well, at this point, I just hope we get the Quinn Hughes deal done. And then maybe there's a little bit of, is this it? And then you start having the, are we better or worse into 2026, 27 with the current incarnation as it stands now? And we have to get used to, and Kirill's going to have to get used to, his buddy Zuki wearing a King sweater. Maybe he's on the same line of Fiala la 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 la. Fiala's had some significant health issues, hasn't he?
He got hurt badly in the Olympics, I believe.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's right. Oh, that was nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we hope he gets right. And eventually, Zuki will be on the same line with Fiala la 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 la. Is that on your summer checklist? Free iHeartRadio app. It's a Talker Tuesday. So you went from Vincent Trocheck to might be a bigger fish in the summer to I hope we get Quinn Hughes deal done to is this it? And then for many of you, as I've been seeing, anytime we get a chance to bring it up, and Brett during Vikes Bites later this morning found some audio from Ian Rappaport regarding the quarterback competition with the Minnesota Vikings. It's Kyler or JJ, and you're on your own after that. But maybe there's an edge rusher or a corner you have your eyes on. You're like that article. You know, I didn't mention it while we were talking about it yesterday, and you know, summertime fodder. It was fun to chat about, Brett. But when we're talking about like 6th round draft picks being busts, I mean, that's a late round flyer. Let's give the 6th rounders a little grace here, okay? Before we start calling them busts. They were picked on Saturday for a reason, because there were question marks. So there are a lot of things potentially on the summer checklist. Loon's getting after it. I think they're tomorrow night. They're in KC. Maybe that's the residual afterburn of the beautiful game's biggest tournament on earth here in our country is now you will be scarves up out St. Paul way. You'll be going to watch parties, and you will be at Allianz Field, which I would suggest you go in. It's an incredible venue. Or it could be just that you can't believe what you're watching with the Lynx right now. So as I said, it's a potpourri Tuesday, a Talker Tuesday here 9 to noon on the Fan. Pete Bursich is going to join me at 11, and we're going to jump into some Prescient purple and gold topics. He also released a podcast via his Eye in the Sky YouTube page with a Gophers bent to it. Super cool interview that he was, I believe it was Mike Sontag they did with Gophers defensive coordinator Danny Collins. And there are some things that I want to get to with him on that. You can find that Pete Bursich 56 via YouTube. But on a Talker Tuesday, potpourri as it is, we must address two elephants in the room. We'll do this opening segment. Two elephants in the room, two different ends of the spectrum. And we shall start with what happened last night in Cleveland.
The pitch swung on, pounded, deep right center again. This ball is gone. Travis Bazzano with Cleveland's 4th home run of the game. It's his 9th home run. And whatever Joe Ryan is throwing up there tonight, Cleveland's been all over it.
Cleveland TV on the call. That was just his 4th home run allowed of the evening. There's more.
Bottom of the 3rd inning, Rhys Hoskins, the DH with a drive. Forget about it. Deep left field, halfway up the bleachers. Hoskins with Cleveland's 5th home run. His 2nd tonight. A solo blast to the porch, halfway up the bleachers and left here in the 3rd. And Cleveland now with a 7-2 lead.
I will spare you the 6th home run that he would later also concede to the Cleveland Guardians. And I believe the 6th one last night was that Speedy Joe Haplin. Speedy Petey Haplin, excuse me. Joe Ryan on the other end of things. 10 hits, 6 of them home runs. I think there was a double in the mix. No walks. Stood tall. Nothing was free last night from Joe Ryan. I can't say that. Joe Ryan is the 12th pitcher in Major League history to allow 6 home runs in a game, the most home runs allowed in a game by a pitcher in league history. There's been 12 of them. Now, let me hit you with this. How preposterous is this? Brett Blakemore and the 9 to Noon listening audience. Paul Allen, by the way, hosted 9 to Noon, returns tomorrow. And we are going to be doing a special Gophers broadcast with the football squad. It's going to be awesome. PJ, a bunch of players, Bo Hunt and Burnsy, Grimmer. It'll be a maroon and gold affair.
Whale watching over.
Live on site. Yeah, whale watching has commenced. It was a successful mission. And he is bringing his scrapbook and his binoculars back to the Minneapolis-St. Paul area as we speak.
Humpback pictures.
So it's
a blue one.
A lot of humpbacks, I would imagine. I can't go forward with that. Anyway, 12th pitcher in Major League Baseball history to allow 6 home runs in a game. Most in a game allowed by pitchers ever. So that's happened 12 times. Are you with me?
Yep.
Okay, you're with me.
Ever.
12 times ever. Conversely, according to my extensive research of a Wikipedia page, in Major League Baseball history, there have been 24 perfect games by pitchers, 22 since the turn of the 20th century. So in some ways, via circumstance, manager pulling the plug, a ball hitting the right spot to finally end an inning, etc., you get it. It has historically been more rare for a pitcher to do what Joe Ryan did last night than for a pitcher to achieve a perfect game.
I don't know what do I hit, or do I? No! I mean, we did history.
Should we celebrate it?
Think about it. Historically good, biblically bad.
I'll save that prep work for the noon to 3
yes,
show. And I'll let the Grum handle it. They're a bit more experienced in this particular category. I did kind of find that funny, just thinking of all the games, and as baseball fans, you're so much more deeply into this than I would be. But just think about all the games over all the years. There have been 24 perfect games. And, you know, in fairness, I can't remember whether Clayton Kershaw had a perfect game going or if it was just a no-hitter. He was ultimately pulled early. And maybe that line of thinking, maybe there's less of an individual achievement piece as part of that may limit future perfect games or no-hitters based in, and that's a very specific anecdotal circumstance with the Dodgers. But to that end, 24 perfect games, 22 in the modern era of Major League Baseball, 22 of them in the modern era, and just 12 pitchers have actually been so bad with no lifeboat coming and allowed 6 home runs in a game. So you're right. I am split. Do we celebrate it? Do we mourn it? It's hard to explain.
I mean, when you say it was a historically bad performance, 99.99% of the time, it's hyperbolic. You're going over the top. It literally was a historically bad performance.
Yes, it was.
It doesn't happen.
No, it was hideous. It was just absolutely brutal. And we'll get more on that in a second, because when Joe Ryan is having a bad day, it's not just it's a bad day, and he's had a few of them. Check this out. So Aaron Gleeman, I encourage all of you to follow him. He's all over this. He posted on X last night. 5 times in Twins history. So Twins pitchers have allowed 5 home runs in a game 5 times. He must have posted this before the 6th one took place. 5 times in Twins history, a Twins pitcher has allowed 5 homers in a game. Joe Ryan, he accounts for 3 of those 5. Now, the reason I halfway remember that, I knew at least about the other one. So when he doesn't have it, he bleeps up for size, and he lets you know pretty early. I remember the last one only because in 2023, I had this. I love getting my twin girls to Twins games at Target Field. I love Target Field, and my buddy came with me. I brought Ava and Stella, and got some sweet seats right behind home plate. But I didn't check the weather. It was like 96 degrees. Red Sox in town. Correa's still feeling good and hitting. And in the end, 2023, by the way, we're winning playoff games. Feels like an eternity ago. But I remember that because we spent most of the day hiding in the concourse to avoid the sunshine, me lamenting how much I spent on the tickets. But Buxton and Correa hit homers in the first inning, and Joe Ryan throws a complete game 3-hit shutout. It was truly just a dominating performance and the perfect game for me to bring my kids to. They got to see everything. Elite offense and a pitcher on the mound that could not be stopped. His very next start, complete game shutout. Beautiful. 3-hitter. Loved it. Kids got sunburned. Wife yelled at me. Call it a day. They go to Atlanta. I think he hurts himself in the pregame warm-up, gives up 5 homers to your Braves in the first 2 innings, and then I think he played hurt for 5 or 6, 7, 8 starts, whatever it was, like a month before admitting, like, yeah, I think I have this growing issue. Like, just a complete L. He went from a complete game shutout to giving up 5 bombs in the first 2 innings. Was Acuna in that game? I don't know. You don't remember such things. Your team's won a World Series recently. You're just still living off the fumes of that, Brett. But unbelievable. So 9 games before the deadline now for the Minnesota Twins. They sort of have to dominate those. It's 3 more with the Cleve. Then I believe it's 2 3-pieces. One is at the Rays, the AL East leading Rays, and then 3 more against Cincinnati. And then that kind of tells the story of, are we buying? Are we selling? And that sort of thing. And, talking with Dan Hayes yesterday, and I went out of my way to catch up with Johnny Bones in here with the Power Trip Morning Show. In some ways, as bad as the AL has been, which kind of has, it's good. It's terrific for the Twins, right? Winning record against the AL. Dan Hayes broke it down yesterday. It's like 12-21, something like that, against the NL. So that's been a problem. There is certainly a power imbalance between the 2 leagues thus far this year. But the interesting part about the Twins is at the beginning of the year, well, you did the fire sale. Yep, you bring in Derek Shelton, probably the only guy that would take the job. Bullpen's a disaster. And outside of Buxton, you can't rely on anybody to hit. That was kind of how a lot of people looked at it in March. And then they do what they do through the first half. You're lauding Derek Shelton, as I have been. I love Shelty. And I think he's been doing a tremendous job with what he has. And they're competing, and they're in the mix. Wow, that's nice. That's great. Outside of those Dodgers games, those were tough. Full house, though. You got to see Ohtani. But then you lose 3 out of 4 out of the break, and suddenly it's, did they buy? Did they sell? Are we regressing to just kind of what we thought they would be? So then, therefore, shoulder shrug? Get whatever you can for Joe Ryan? Get whatever you can for Ryan Jeffers? Or is it, don't do this to us again? We have like 5 people on the team that we love and we want to root for every day. Don't get rid of JoJo. God, his next start's going to be terrific, too. Whenever Joe Ryan, whichever game he's up next, Twins will win that game. He will be terrific. So I wonder where people's heads are on that. But to that end, 2 ends of the spectrum, we're giving up 6 home runs in Cleveland. And I think on the other end of it, you really have to. Are you familiar with Covenant Claps, Brett?
I am.
It's Covenant Claps for Olivia Miles.
Yes.
So the Lynx beat Seattle last night, and the final score, I think it was 105-102. Lynx led into the 4th. And, one of the key aspects of that before we get to just how terrific Olivia was, Olivia herself, I believe, had 9 in the fourth. Team was 11-12 at the line. You just closed them out, and it was a professional victory on the road at Seattle. But they're the best team in the WNBA right now. And Kayla McBride leads the team in scoring last night. She had 33, and can't forget about Courtney Williams either. But those two, along with Olivia, just carrying this team last night, and that's kind of been a common theme. Kayla McBride doing her thing, and then Olivia Miles with a 32-8-8 game last evening against Seattle. And so on a Talker Tuesday again, potpourri. Are we watching one of the greatest rookie seasons in WNBA history? So, trying to find this out, by the way, I can just go and ask Rock, which I did, and we'll get to that in a moment.
Are you a Grok guy?
Yeah, I don't mind Grok.
I've been a chat guy.
Chat GPT?
Yeah, I think they're all good.
Is there a way to, well, I guess you just have to sign up for multiple and then just ask them the same questions and create that standard there.
Yeah.
From a statistical standpoint, I still haven't found one that I actually enjoy. So I still go to all the reference sites. For anything statistical, I have to go to a place that I trust, because I think all AI, they must just be confused by it. I don't know why specifically with stats that they are so hideous at it.
I completely agree. Sports stuff, they really struggle. All of them. Who did, the Vikings sign in the offseason? And I might tell you who they signed in the summer of 2023. Like, they just have no clue time and statistics at all. Like, yeah, it's bad.
No, I don't trust any of it. And so therefore, I mean, for instance, the last time I used AI a couple days ago, and I just asked, like, hey, any updates on the wildfires in northern Minnesota? Like, just unbelievable what's happening, but getting consistent reporting. So I just had it pulled 10 articles for me that I could peek at. It's not good up there. I think it's better than it was a week ago, but it's not good up there. And a lot of people losing their homes and cabins and stuff. And it's, we're making jokes down here about the smoke, but it's nothing funny about what's going on up there. Back to sports fodder. So I did ask Rock about this. A lot of people will look in recent times at Caitlin Clark, 19.2 a game, five rebounds a game, 8 assists a game, rookie of the year. Caitlin Clark in 2024. Let me see. WNBA single season records, 337 assists, rookie records, 769 points, 122 threes in her rookie season as well. Led rookies in most categories, 5th highest single season assists average ever. Unanimous, well, not unanimous. I mean, 66 out of 67 votes, mostly unanimous. Rookie of the year, all WNBA first team, 4th in MVP voting, all-star, multiple 30-point, 10 assists game, and the first rookie triple-double, and then et cetera would be how I put that. But in terms of what Olivia Miles, so let's put Caitlin Clark in there. And then we should also put, and I'm stepping out on a limb here. I'm not trying to be a WNBA historian, but just bear with me if you can. Candace Parker in 2008 with the Sparks, 18 and 9 a game, rebounders, 2.5 blocks a game. But she was the rookie of the year and the WNBA MVP in the same season. So rookie of the year, league MVP. She's the only one to do so. And then you have Tamika Catchings in 2002. Led team to playoffs, win shares for a rookie, defensive monster, became a legend. 18, 8, and 3 steals a game. Digging that. So I'm not sure if Olivia is going to, we'll see, there's still time. But versus maybe a Caitlin or even a Candace Parker, she's topping both of them in points per game at this spot. Now, from a rebound standpoint, she's only getting 5 a game. So she's in that Caitlin Clark range, not going to touch what Candace was doing. They play different positions. Assists, 6 assists a game for Olivia Miles. Over 8 for Caitlin Clark. And they're both in that steal and a half a game territory. So if we're just reading stat lines, Similar, I guess you give the edge to Caitlin Clark, but how do you do that? Her shooting efficiency, Olivia's better than Caitlin Clark's. Well, why is that? Well, Olivia only takes less than 4 threes a game. I think Caitlin was taking 8 or 9 a game. Olivia hitting her triples at a higher clip, by the way, than Caitlin Clark did. She's also getting to the line as much, if not more, Olivia is, than Caitlin Clark is. And just kind of putting a bow on this thing, Olivia, along with Kayla McBride, not the only one on the team, obviously, carrying this Lynx team to the top of the stack without Nafisa Collier. Are we potentially looking at one of the greatest rookie seasons in WNBA history? Current WNBA NBA MVP list, by the way. A'ja Wilson, heavily favored, minus 360. Paige Beckers, 8.5 to 1. Caitlin Clark, 13 to 1. But sandwiched between Caitlin and Paige Beckers, 10 to 1. Olivia Miles. Ooh! Could Olivia Miles be just the second, first since Candace Parker in 2008, to be Rookie of the Year and WNBA MVP in the same season? She's playing like it. The team's looking like it. And they are atop the heap of the WNBA. So, on a Talker Tuesday, potpourri as it is, so many different things to jump into over the course of 9 to noon. And we will continue to do that. Texan Talkbacks, again, Talker Tuesday is brought to you by Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply, northernfirebbq.com. At the end of the day today, one of you via Talkback is going to win a Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply gift card. And again, it can be on anything. What's your summer checklist with the Howl? What's your summer checklist with the Minnesota Wild? Are you patient? Are you worried? When Billy G is super quiet, that's when he strikes. What's your summer checklist? Vikings, camps around the corner. We just heard news from Ian Rappaport. We'll talk about it during Vikes Bites. This QB competition thing might not be over soon in camp. Interesting. Many things to chat about. 9 to noon. Olivia Miles, NBA and WNBA rookie immortality. And what do you do about the baseball team? Are they regressing to what we thought? Do we still buy in? Level of faith. Let's just go to Target Field, enjoy the afternoon. Owners this, owners that. Many things. And that kicks us off into the Timber Tech set list. It is indeed mostly a Talker Tuesday, but excited at 11 a.m. Pete Bursich is going to join us. And Pete Bursich, analyst, Minnesota Vikings Audio Network. He has his Eye in the Sky podcast on YouTube. And you can just search Pete Bursich 5'6" for that. Lots of Vikings content. But he also caught up with Gophers defensive coordinator Danny Collins. I'm going to chat about that podcast and what he took from that. And there's some interesting nuggets there, not just about Danny Collins and his particular path, but those of us out there that have an aspiration, I'm beyond it. But for those of you that are interested in high-level coaching, kind of appreciating and understanding the grind, maybe that you're already in, but just parts of getting to that level, the evolution of the player versus the scheme, what's in it for high school kids with so much in front of them, how is that experience changing for them? I thought it was a really cool podcast with Pete Bursich, but I'll talk about that stuff with him as well as Vikings training camp around the corner. Brett Blakemore produces. I am Nordo, in for PA. And I believe there's a keyword opportunity.
The cash thing, the fan and BigDeck.com. I'm going to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword is bonus. The keyword bonus, KFAN.com. Keyword bonus.
You're listening to Eric Nordquist in for Paul Allen on The Fan.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront.
The Fan welcomes some great shows to Treasure Island this year, including Gabriel Iglesias, July 31st, Joe Bonamassa, August 15th, Snoop Dogg, September 5th, and Ron White, October 17th. Get complete details on all of our upcoming shows on the concert page, KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Paul from Rochester here. Just think about this. Kyler Murray turns into maybe a modern day Fran Tarkenton type of quarterback. We have good defense. It kind of mirrors the past. You know, a running quarterback, a great athlete, maybe the best athlete at the time in their sport. I don't know. Could be good. Peace.
Yeah. No, if he turns into a modern-day Fran Tarkenton, Kyler Murray, yeah, that would be incredible, Paul. I'm with you on it. The trouble is, Paul, is that reports are is we're just going to let this thing linger. We're going to let this thing simmer into training camp, through preseason games, potentially right up until the beginning of the season. It's a Talker Tuesday and heavy on your talkbacks, I assure you. In fact, I'm going to go so far as to promise you we're going to play as many of them as you send through today. However, during the break, I believe Mr. Blakemore found some news in relation to the hockey team.
Yeah, so it broke about 10 minutes ago. It's news of impending news almost.
Oh.
So reading into it,
you kind of had me excited about it.
Well,
now you're just
I was excited about it too, and I am excited about it.
The announcement of an announcement.
So basically, what it's saying is the Minnesota Wild, they're announcing the launch of multimedia television network. Now, there's no name, and details are to come, but basically, a team-owned and operated multimedia platform. Minnesota Wild will be broadcast fully managed in-house in collaboration with NHL Productions. Here's what Mitch Helgerson, he is the CRO and executive vice president, said. We're extremely excited to launch our new multimedia television network. Moves all about ensuring our fans and ensuring they continue to have reliable direct access to games just as they have in previous seasons. It says in bold, fans will be able to watch the Minnesota Wild through a variety of options this season, including cable, satellite, streaming services, and over-the-air. It says more details will be announced prior to the start of the season. So there's some multimedia network, which is yet to be named in this article. Also should be noted, of course, at the bottom of the article, it says the fan will remain, as we already knew, as the official audio home of your Minnesota Wild. Just in case we're forgetting.
I noticed when I chatted with Fallness last week, he had a little glimmer in his eye. I think he had some inside intel that the Minnesota Wild audio network would remain intact. So the announcement is, hey, you're going to be able to watch us, and we'll announce that at a later date.
When I saw the headline, Minnesota Wild announced launch of multimedia television network, I thought, here we go. Here's the details. And it's still exciting, but yeah, I don't know what the name of it is or what the details are.
No, it's
so.
Well,
so there you go.
I think, and this is a difficult situation. Well,
there is something here. I mean, that's not, whatever it's on, whatever network it's called. The Minnesota Wild telecast will feature bringing back Anthony LaPanta as play-by-play.
Okay.
Ryan Carter as lead analyst. Kevin Gorg, ringside reporter.
Gorgie.
Katie Storm, Wes Walls, pre- and post-game. Alex Stalock and Lou Nanny will serve as analysts for select games. So there you go.
So the gang's all here.
The gang's back together.
Okay. Well, that's terrific information. Now, the Wild have an opportunity, really, just how the learning experience of the trials and tribulations of the baseball team that we were talking about last segment in terms of TV deal goes awry. We're in battles with, Sinclair Broadcasting. It was Bally's. It was FanDuel Sports Network North, and just kind of, that complete rat's nest, and trying to even understand, okay, is this the fault of the network? Is this the onus on Major League Baseball? Thinking about, again, just baseball centric for a little bit, and they come out with, the Twins TV and how much that actually will cost, and trying to disseminate that information to the fan base. It was it was just a kind of a nasty and frustrating process. So, and
if you remember, that was the only reason that they cut payroll was because of the TV rights loss. That's the only reason they did that.
Now you're just piling on. Okay, now you're just piling on. Does Turner still own your team?
No, it's some
who owns
Liberty Sports group, some conglomeration,
some equity group.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at any rate, what I'm going to, I'm looking forward to that. Ways to watch our favorite hockey team. The announcement of an announcement. So we know that it's going to be local cable, over the air. It'll be satellite. 100.3 FM is here for you. Free iHeartRadio app. You know that. And the gang's all here. Familiar faces, familiar voices. We just need to know maybe some more particulars as that gets tightened up, along the way. To the talkback machine here, maybe time for one or two more before we go, to pause here. How about we just hit that one at 9:33, Brett?
Morning, Nordo and Blakemore. Not to be a negative Nancy over here, but
I thought he was going to be super
positive. I think
positive.
no matter how the Twins season goes from here on out, they have to be sellers at the deadline.
Yeah.
You have to trade Joe Ryan and Ryan Jeffers at their peak, because the Pohlads are not going to sign them for what they rightfully deserve, and all the one-year contracts could just go to just sell.
Sell.
Jeez.
Text line, Matt from Little Falls. Ted Turner is dead.
There is that.
So he may have passed away.
Yeah.
Okay. I grew up watching Braves games on TBS here locally, Channel 15. I knew he was old. I figured similar maybe to a Pohlad situation, that some sort of, like, Ted Turner didn't pass away and then just everything that he was a part of just disappears.
It's like
into
Game
the
of
mist.
Thrones. It just passes down to the next heir.
It could have been.
Yeah.
But in fairness, thank you, Matt, for the update. Rest in peace, Ted Turner. Yeah, and that's so two ends of the spectrum. Talking about Joe Ryan, Joe Ryan's our best pitcher, and Joe Ryan should garner hopefully significant interest as the trade deadline approaches. And I can't remember specifically the quotes a year ago, but into the fire sale that took place, there was an aspect, I don't want to say it was gleeful, but there was an aspect to Joe Ryan when talking about the possibility of being sent to another team. He almost sounded dismissive, indifferent, felt like it, and almost just like the prospects of going to another team with a chance to win a World Series, like that kind of excited him. And I don't want to read too deeply into it because it's context. It's the way the question was asked. It could be a mood. Again, the way we dig into athletes, we take these mini quotes. I guess, being in radio, I'm in the business of making mountains out of a molehill. That's what we're doing on a Talker Tuesday in mid-July, waiting for training camp. But it did kind of feel that way, where he wasn't necessarily opposed to it, or maybe he was mentally resigned to it, just kind of seeing what was coming down the pike. And so, that comes back to at the beginning of the season, baseball fans, speaking of resignation and maybe some general disgust for multiple reasons as it is to the baseball team, you didn't expect to see this team actually competing as we entered the All-Star break. A mediocre AL, but an AL in which you're playing the games on your schedule, and the Twins are winning a fair amount of them, even reaching 500 there in the Friday post-pause game at the Cubbies. So did you kind of change your face over the course of the way? Again, lauding a Derek Shelton, lauding certain performances and players that you're learning about. And then now, does it feel like, again, that's the margin that this baseball team, it feels like they're always operating on. Think about where you were into the All-Star break. This is cool. And this is an opportunity. We're talking about, hey, there's some pitchers out there. How do we get better to potentially make a run at the division and certainly make ourselves game in the All-Star, in the wild card race? And then you lose 3 out of 4, and it's like, oof, all right, here we are. We're back to it. We're back where we started. Sell everybody. And I've been hearing a lot of people, and I heard Saucy talking about it on the morning show. And it's just, whatever fan base is left, if you trade Joe Ryan, you've completely lost all loyalty and all love from Minnesota Twins faithful. And I guess I would kind of challenge that from the stand, like, were you not at all prepared for that, if that makes sense, given what we were looking at into the year, given with how things ended at the end of last season, the fire sale, as I mentioned a year ago? Were you already kind of mentally down that road and understanding that was a possibility? And in terms of Jeffers and the year that he's having, were you not mentally prepared a little bit for that possibility? Is that what it would take at this stage? And as much as we've talked about the various reasons, fans are carrying some bitterness and some vitriol around it, like, I don't feel like, is this really that moment? It kind of feels like you're already there. Or you've settled into the worst of all cases, and that's apathy, as we've talked about from time to time. Let's pause. We're going to play more talkbacks around the corner, a lot of them pumping in. So let's fire through these. We're going to pause and come back and continue a Talker Tuesday. It's Nordo in for PA on the Fan, brought to you by Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply. More around the corner.
You're listening to
on the Brad Sean Bryant KFAN text line. Just let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard text message and data rate supply.
Nordo is the G-Man in Phoenix.
What up, G-Man?
KOC kind of painted himself into this corner with that statement of organizations fail young quarterbacks more than young quarterbacks fail organizations. So he has to stick to the narrative that is open because he wouldn't want to actually come out and contradict himself. Frustrating.
It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. Mistakes are correctable. Apparently this echo is not correctable, and I apologize for that. I don't know if he painted him. Well, I guess he only painted himself in a corner in relation to organizations fail QBs more than young QBs fail organizations. A statement he made. It's been oft used, of course, in the era of J.J. McCarthy, since they selected him 10th overall a couple of years ago. And if he paints himself in a corner, maybe if JJ would move on and blooms with another organization and finds an immense amount of success there, and then you can kind of look at, okay, well, that's another example. In some ways, it's the reverse Sam Darnold. Many would argue that the Jets failed Sam Darnold, and in the end, he found his way to a place that just everything was kind of reset. We can use the raw tools and talent, different system, find a way to put you in spots to be at your best. We did that, won a bunch of games with him. And then we allowed him to be sacked 9 times against the Rams in the wild card game down in Arizona. And then now we see him hoisting the trophy a year later with the Seattle Seahawks. So this could be the reverse Sam Darnold potentially, where if things don't work out here with the purple, J.J. McCarthy finds his way to another team. He flourishes, different circumstances, different building, and then maybe at some point in his career wins a Super Bowl. And we would all feel, well, maybe we're just happy for J.J. the human and incredibly bitter as Vikings fans. That statement, though, organizations failing young QBs more than young QBs failing organizations, I'm not necessarily sure that I don't know if that's the crux of what we're talking about with the quarterback competition as it exists here. And, we'll get into it, I guess, with Vikes Bites or, just because we're up against it from a clock standpoint. But, the longer the competition draws out, does that lend more to the favor of J.J. McCarthy? Does it lend more towards a potential setback and detriment of the entire team the longer you go through camp without the preferred starter, getting the preferred reps? I did not play the game at a high level, so I have to trust when a Kyler Murray, who's coming into town and learning a new system, kind of makes mention of the fact, hey, there's some trials and tribulations here. I'm only getting half of the reps, so there's a lot more that needs to be accomplished. There's the mental side of it in some ways to make the most of each opportunity here, during organized team activities and minicamp. Yeah, kind of, he's alluding to, I want the freaking reps. I want to be QB1. I need all the reps. So does that mean this needs to be figured out before the first preseason game? That's where my first instinct is gone. And I've seen kind of some of the fodder on social media, and you're feeling, who cares? It doesn't matter if it isn't figured out until the Friday before the opener against Green Bay. Just make sure it's the right answer. Now, that's one thing, that's one place I'm at mentally, too, is in the end, I just want it to be the right answer, right? I want my favorite team to win a ton of games. And then as the season goes on, I mean, if we're really in a spot where it's December and we're having conversations and Vikings fan line and Ron's sitting across from me and we're celebrating another Vikings victory and we're being rubes and we're talking about the idea of, man, Kyler is going to cost us a lot of money this offseason. It's kind of a good problem to have. And then we can talk about all the downstream effects of that then. But yeah, the failing young QBs more than young QBs fail organizations. I'm not, that's a tough quote if this J.J. McCarthy thing goes the wrong way, but I'm still in the camp of, I look at all the circumstances around it. Choices were made. A new GM is here for multiple reasons, and that may even include the path this thing has gone at the quarterback spot. And so, but now he was part of the decision, the head coach was to bring in a Kyler Murray, to take the opportunity to raise the level of the QB room. So I don't necessarily look at that statement. It's not on my mind when I'm thinking Kyler or JJ, and I refer to it as an unintentionally rigged competition, given the equity that Kyler has on the field versus just the 10 for JJ McCarthy. But the longer it draws out, with that Ian Rappaport report, the longer it draws out, does that mean that it isn't unintentionally rigged, that JJ will have every possible opportunity to take this thing? And we're a week from veterans reporting to Egan, and then we will begin sifting through all the bits at Egan as we start to attain an answer. We're going to pause, play some more talkbacks. There's going to be a barbecue bent around the corner. Who is the Tom Brady of barbecue? On a Talker Tuesday brought to you by Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply. I brought a guy from Northern Fire to maybe help me answer that question. But talkers, talkbacks, texts all throughout 9 to noon today. Nordo in for PA on the Fan.
It's Eric Nordquist in for Paul Allen on the Fan.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY Traffic Center. This report